So what is going on with our understanding of the atom? Um, well, first you have to understand we changed our understanding of plasma. All right, it's a small group, but they got to wake up society because they're already inventing stuff that is over the top. And what's going on is plasma is basically lightning, and out in space it's different. Um, you say, well, you can't have lightning in space. Yes, you can. It's called plasma. It takes a lot of energy to disconnect what we call electricity from like the sun, stuff like that. And we see it happen. We see it happen. We call it plasma. We treat it like it's electrons and protons, but it's actually just positive and negative energy that we call the electromagnetic field. And it just basically rips itself free and floats through space as high-end energy. And over time, floating through space, if it misses the Earth and all that other stuff, it ends up out in deeper space where it's basically separates itself, and what you end up with is what we call positrons and electrons. And they separate themselves, and then the positrons become the core, and the electrons become the magnetic field on the outside. The electrons floating around the outside. They're not particles, first of all. You have to understand that. Electricity isn't a particle. All right, it's energy. And it's two different forms of energy. We call them positive, negative, whatever you want to call it, push and a pull, whatever you want to call it. But what happens is it creates tiny, tiny, tiny little vortexes. And a little ball of high-end, mass condensed black holes. All right? It's a tiny little black hole is what we call a proton. You're going to have a lot of different theories, a lot of different ideas. Every different field is going to claim it as theirs, stuff like that. But the end result is it's a tiny little vortex of electricity, of positive and negative charge. Negative, the positive being stuck inside, that's what we call the proton. And on the outside is the electron, which is the electrical charge that surrounds it, the magnetic field that surrounds it. And at a atomic scale, you're talking massive power behind that field. And that's why atoms don't bang into each other. They hit the field against field because it's extraordinary strength. And then with magnetism comes radius, right? So each layer out becomes a little bit weaker and a little bit weaker. So what ends up happening is they get multiple atoms together and they share a field, right? And that field we call an atom, molecule, right? And when we literally rip lightning out of the electrical wires and we control it with magnets, we take the negative side of the power and we control it with magnets and we loop it in upon itself. And we call it synchrony light. It's lightning in a bottle. That's what I call it. It's lightning in a bottle. And we literally put it in a vortex about this big. Control it with magnets. And as it goes around, it's literally spreading all kinds of radiation. And we use that now to study different things. There's all kinds of things they study with it. They have large electron accelerators. Same thing. They have large electron accelerators, and they're using magnets to basically keep it in a big, long loop. And then at certain parts of the loop, depending on the frequency that you set your magnets, is depending on the radiation you get out of it. So they can actually control what type of radiation you got coming out of it. Stuff like this. This is all coming out. This is all coming out. And it's going to come with it a whole bunch of new tech. We're already doing new medicine with it, stuff like that. New research. New research. Space. Electricity in space. Plasma. Basically, as it separates and cools, so we call it separation and cooling, it becomes hydrogen. It becomes hydrogen. And as that hydrogen cools, it's still very magnetic. So it starts pulling itself together into large clouds, and the clouds become stars, etc., etc., etc. Where does all that plasma come from? Well, that's angular momentum. So as a star or a black hole or whatever picks up too much angular, it starts spinning too much as angular momentum. It spins too fast, goes up towards the speed of light. It literally takes a bunch of that energy and just spews it out of North and South Pole. Just spews it. I mean, just massive amounts. It's no longer a magnetic field. This is now a vent between the North and the South Pole. And it vents all this energy and it reduces its mass. And by reducing its mass, it lowers its angular momentum. Because it literally takes all that mass and just sends it up out into space, deep, deep, deep into space. And so on an atomic scale, we do the same thing. All right, when we launch electrons away from the atom by using a high frequency light, we're not launching electrons. We never were. That was an assumption that was made 100 and something years ago. God bless them. I mean, but that was 100 and something years ago. And it's kind of obvious with everything going on, the tech going on, and the knowledge and the stats we have just available to everybody now. The people like me can figure this stuff out. So please, you're more than welcome to go and do your research. But if your research disagrees with the facts, you don't change the facts. You change your understanding of the facts. Okay? And that's where science has been screwing up for over 100 years, and this is what they've been fighting for over 100 years. Is trying to get past the beliefs that were generated that people just don't want to let go of. Like when I say the atom is a tiny little vortex, people bug out. People bug out big because it's the same thing as a black hole. It's a big vortex, you know. And then they look bigger at the universe and go, and they start bugging. But I'm telling you right now, it's not. Don't get religious with it. It's basically, it's the same universal laws that just scale to size. It doesn't mean the atom is a universe. It means it uses the same universal laws. Okay? That's all it means. It means it uses the same universal laws. So it looks the same in different parts of the universe at different scalar sizes. But it is scalar. All right? So the math doesn't work for an atom the way it works for a galaxy. There's going to be all kinds of different ideas about what's causing all of this coming up very soon. You're going to have all kinds of different people screaming all different kinds of things. There's going to be all kinds of religious nuts out there trying to change religion and all this other stuff. And oh my, it's going to get weird. Stick to your universal laws. They're going to get rid of, they're not going to allow mechanical realism back. I know they aren't. But really, when you look at it through a mechanical realist eyes and recognize that, you know, it's just the same. The universe follows basic mechanical laws. It's not about what makes a hammer. It's not about a hammer itself so much as what makes a hammer look and act like a hammer. You know, it's the same universal laws. Don't panic. It's okay.